Okay, good evening YouTube. Welcome back to this next episode of FPL Family with me, Lee, and this is Sam. And thanks for sticking with us, guys. We know we're a few minutes beyond the half hour where we normally are, but
8 minutes late.
A lot of it is to do with this new setup we've got behind us. What do you think of this, guys? What do you think? Look, we've got a little Spurs badge over here. We've got you can't
See it.
We're gonna have to change that, but we've got a sun-signed boot up here, which is like awesome. Like, just to have shot. We change that. We've got to change that. We've obviously still got the signed Liverpool thing over here. But look at this. Ooh, what do you think, guys? And this obviously used to be white in the background, so we've now got a nice sort of bluey teal colour. This is all thanks to, guys. I'd love to take some credit for this. I ain't gonna. This was all Sam from FPL Family's doing. It's absolutely wonderful. Love it.
It looks great above it as well. You can't see it, but my good team on paper
There's some really good stuff up there, but at the risk.
Okay,
right, this is risky.
Okay, we're gonna go for it. Ready?
It's risky. Oh,
there's a gap, you see, because I've run out of strips to put the last bits up.
Nice.
Signed Jamie Vardy football.
Love it. Look at that.
There's our content awards from a couple of years ago award.
We've got to find a way to...
Look at the sun boot.
The sun boot is good, isn't it? Love that.
Right, it's coming back down to land.
So we've got to find a way to get more of that stuff into the background.
There's too much of us here. You need to lift the camera.
There's too much of us, full stop, isn't there?
Here you need it to be, and then you
Really?
get the boot in, yeah.
Really?
If the bottom of the camera was there.
Just show my head. Make sure that you get the sun boot in, but as long as,
just put the camera there.
I could be like here. No one would really miss me. And then everyone could just listen to a sun boot talking about FPL.
You like my new neon sign.
It's nice, isn't it?
Oh, I can do all sorts of things. I can turn it up. I can make it brighter. I can make it lighter. I am so happy with it.
Some of you guys are saying the sound is low. Let us know if there is an issue with the sound. I feel as if I'm a million miles away from the microphone, but don't change it. Don't change it because you did that last week and it just all went absolutely crazy. So I will try and project my voice a little bit more than I ordinarily would. I think you'll probably be okay. I might be a little bit behind. Some of you guys are saying the sound is fine. That's good. That's good. That's good. Cool. So guys, listen. I'm glad we could start, Sam, on a positive note about our new setup because I ain't got anything positive to say about FPL in this show. I got literally no points this week. It's been a disaster.
Has anybody seen my FPL points for this week?
You are actually doing all right, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. We'll look at our teams later on. I'm thinking you've got like 2 or 3 people getting returns. That's a massive dub in this week, I can tell you.
Is it?
People are jealous of my Umbremo assist. That's all I've got. There's people tweeting I've got 9 points with 2 to play. Is that any good? It has been an absolute disaster, guys.
Honestly.
I don't know what the hell's gone on this week. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And the worst bit about all of that is that on Friday, and in fact all last week, I was looking at my team going, oh, it looks great. I've got captain choices.
Looks good on paper, didn't it?
Everything looks great.
Yeah, look good on paper.
And then Liverpool, Man City, Haaland's a rolled ankle. Think he's fine, but nonetheless, 1 pointer.
What's going on with that rolled ankle cut? Do we need to keep an eye on this?
Hope maybe for Tuesday, hopefully for the weekend. So I think he's actually okay.
Okay. Good.
But then at least I've still got my main men to come on Monday night.
Well, this is where we're at, isn't it? We are all here, I think, hoping for Son, Maddison, Porro, Richarlison if you've got him, Udogie if you've got him, if he's fit. We're all sitting here just hoping for Spurs to save our game week, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean,
basically where we're at.
I said multiple times this week I really wanted to captain Sonny, and I really wish I had now.
Well, it's all hindsight, Sam, because I think genuinely it's one of them weeks where you've just got to look at the decisions you made and the outcome. There ain't no way that I was ever even considering really doing anybody else other than Haaland, really, for captaincy.
So I did consider it, but because I'm going, but only because I'm going tomorrow, and it's like my unwritten rule, isn't it?
Yeah, but you weren't really. I mean, Haaland home to Bournemouth, we're all sitting there going, that's going to be a massacre. And it was.
Yeah.
He just didn't get amongst the points. In fact, as the goals kept going in, where were you and I at the time? We were out and about, I think, in town, walking around town or whatever. And the goals were going in, and we're like, all right, Doku, Rodri assist. Doku assist, Foden goal. Oh, it's just like, well, no one's getting any points here. And Haaland just wasn't involved. But for those of you that have got Doku, if you've got Jeremy Doku in your team or bought him in, fair play, because that is a haul in itself, isn't it? If you've got him, you'd have had more points than most FPL managers rest of their teams, frankly. Yeah. A goal and 4 assists.
Didn't he get?
Unbelievably good, 22. Listen, we heard, didn't we, a bit in the lead up to this game week about Pep saying, well, for Grealish, I'll use Grealish when I want more control. When I'm playing and he didn't use these words, but when they play the lesser teams, the teams where they've got to go at them a bit harder and throw caution to the wind, those are the games where he's going to play Doku. So home to Bournemouth, yeah, we all should have seen it. Maybe we were all looking at Ollie Watkins and Villa and Nunez and all these kind of shiny toys over here to the left, when actually it was Doku that made the difference. 81 on BPS this week. Second best was Bernardo Silva, who also had a brilliant game, by the way, but completely outshone by Doku. Superb, wasn't it?
Yeah, I must admit, I wasn't annoyed about Doku because I'd never come anywhere close to having him, but I was very relieved to see Alvarez go off without anything in that game as well, because obviously when Haaland went at half time, I was thinking, this is a nightmare. Like, I've captained the wrong player. He's now gone off with a 1-pointer, and Alvarez is still on. And it looks like being a bloodbath already. It can only get worse in the second. The whole thing was just... It's been an interesting weekend for football. That's the one thing I would say. It's
been an interesting weekend for football and FPL. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. The controversy at St James's Park over the Arsenal... Not the Arsenal goal, the Newcastle goal, which... Was it in? Was it out? Was it shake it all about? Was it a foul? Was it offside? Was it this? Was it that? Crazy. Then we had a really good game. Brentford versus West Ham, to and fro in. West Ham take the lead. Brentford come back really, really good. And even today, right, for the neutral, I suppose. Obviously, I'm disappointed with the result of Kenilworth Road. That's a game where we'd expect Liverpool to win. But as a neutral, you're sitting there going, wow, that's an unbelievable game, isn't it? Chong with the 1-0. They nearly hold on. And then Luis Diaz, bless him, because of what's going on in his private life, to come out there and not just take the pitch, but score what was a really good header in the end. And then he's got the message for his dad and stuff. It was all going off. So another roller coaster week in the Premier League. But when it comes to FPL, it was dire, wasn't it? It's absolutely tragic. Let's say hello to a few people. Harry is in. How are we doing, Harry? FPL is fun. He just leaves it at that. FPL is fun. We've had a super chat from Joseph
Chelsea
Maloney.
Haven't played yet, though, Harry. So there's nothing to be sad about from that perspective.
Well, this is the thing. The chat is saying the way that this game week has gone, the way that this weekend's gone, you wouldn't put it past a Chelsea win tomorrow night, would you? Yeah. Well, listen.
If I go to Spurs tomorrow and Chelsea win, I'll be raging.
Funny things have happened. Joseph Maloney, thank you for the super chat, mate. Evening, Lee and Sam. Hello, mate. Love the new setup. Looks class. Thank you, mate. Love that. Oh, what a game week. I'm on 35. Mate, that's big time, by the way, this week. 35 is big time. I'm on 35 with my Spurs assets, Porro and Madders to play, and on a green arrow. Joseph, mate, you are sitting pretty, I would suggest, versus a lot of other FPL managers, two of which you're listening to right now. And we'll talk about our teams a bit later on, and we will skip past mine very, very quickly.
Can't be that bad.
Wait. Just wait. Wilco in with the super chat. Thank you, mate. 52 with Madison. 52! Wilco.
He must have had Doku. Oh, he did. He had Doku.
Doku, Mitchell and Mbeumo.
Yeah,
Loving
he was in the
mate.
Slack yesterday and he was
Loving
talking about... Because Mitchell scored, didn't he? He scored the Palace goal as well. Mitchell got a hatful.
That is absolutely brilliant. So, yes, love that. 52 with Maddie to go Doku, Mitchell and Mbeumo. These are those are the differentials, right? It was a week for... If you had... like an Uber differential that went off, you shooting up. You're rocketing up. If you had Doku, you're rocketing up. If you had Mitchell, you're rocketing up. Even Issa Kabore, by the way, I know the clean sheet left him, but he's got the assist. He could have scored at the end as well. I'll tell you what, not for Alisson save. So if you've got any of these guys, if you somehow had Archer coming off your bench, because no one's starting Archer, I'm sure.
I wish I'd started Archer.
Oh God, don't. My bench. Spoiler alert: my bench has outscored my team. But we'll talk about that a bit later on. Absolutely awful. Logan Heath is in. Hey, Logan, how are you doing, mate? Dean Lake is here. This is, right, Dean, I feel for you, man. This is why we're all here to just...
Go on,
this can be a therapeutic session, right? Get in the chat, guys, and just go, GG's to Dean, because Dean is on 16 points, Sam, but he's got 19 points on his bench. 19 points on the bench.
Any chance there any of them coming off?
Dean, is this going to sting? Disgusting, that. Disgusting. Scott Schrager is in the OG. How are you doing, mate? Should have gotten Ollie Watkins in. Should have gone Ollie Swatkins in instead of Ollie Watkins. So, yeah, since I clamoured for him 2 weeks ago, he's done naff all in 2 games. Another well, let's just call it a bit of a shock result. I've got to watch the highlights on Match of the Day tonight, but was absolutely not expecting Forest to beat Aston Villa. But by all accounts, they were good.
Well, yeah, we were out watching the Tigers, so we missed that one.
Yeah, our lad had a football match, didn't he? So we missed that one because we were watching Max's team. But yeah, by all accounts, Forest were decent, right? They were decent. Abhishek, how are you doing? How did I get a rank gain of 40% with 37 points? Abhishek,
because everyone else has got about 3.
Mate, if you've got 37 points, most people have got about half of that, mate. So a rank gain of 40%, that's...
Take it.
Take it. As he is in, the Smiths, 1986, how are we doing? Archer got 9 points, and yes, he is on the bench. He is on most people's bench.
Yeah.
And Liam is here. We've got Babani, we've got Daniel Banks, we've got Joe Thurgood. A whole host of you guys are in tonight, guys. So thank you very much. ZK is in. He just says, Lee, you've broken Watkins. I probably have, mate. I probably have. Goodness knows what's happened to him the last couple of weeks since I moved heaven and earth to get him in. Let's start talking about some of these games, Sam. Let's try and wade through the wreckage that was this game week, because it was absolutely crazy, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy. Where would you like to start? And just while you're doing that, I'm going to try and find... I seem to have closed the window with the results in it, so bear with me. I'm going to find this now.
Oh, no. Where are we starting?
Yeah, where would you like to start? Which game?
Should we start... Wow. Should we start with Liverpool? Let's start at the end.
If you want to, yeah, I can start at the end. Yeah, just ramble for a minute while I sort this screen out, because it's gone a little bit haywire. Luton 1, Liverpool 1. Give us your thoughts on the game first and foremost, the bits that you saw.
Well, I didn't see very much because I was finalising this, and I also had the pleasure this afternoon, and if you haven't already watched it and you're interested in my thoughts on Spurs and Chelsea for tomorrow, I joined Ellie on her channel today to do a little preview of the Spurs Chelsea game. So I was recording
Ellie who? Remind the guys who Ellie is, because most people might not know.
I don't know what her Twitter handle is. What's her handle on Twitter?
It's Elizabeth Helenak, isn't it? She's on...
is that her handle though?
I think she's on Twitter as that, yeah.
So yeah, she's a Chelsea fan.
Ellie
so we did a little video together, a little preview of the game for tomorrow. So I was doing that, putting all this stuff back up, having painted the wall at midnight last night. Don't ask. Then so I only watched bits and pieces of this game. But Darwin Núñez, let's start with Darwin, shall we? Because I think a lot of people yesterday, this week generally, were kind of clamouring for Darwin, weren't they? There was a bit of a movement towards doubling up with Darwin and Salah, having him in the forward line, whether you wanted to treble up top in terms of 3 proper forwards rather than having an Archer in that slot.
Yeah.
And then I was reading a stat after the game that said he's hit the woodwork more times than 10 of the teams in the Premier League so far this season.
Crazy, yeah.
Which is a bit mental.
He missed a huge chance in this game as well. I noticed that he was top for XG underachievers on the Fantasy Football Scout members area with a delta of minus 0.9. I thought there was a hint of offside, actually. I thought it was given offside, that there was a big chance he missed. And even that in itself was probably a 0.9 XG chance. So what you're seeing there, the XG underachievement, I don't think includes that big chance that he also had. Yeah. And I tend to think, I know the flag went up at the time, that's given offside, so therefore isn't included in the XG. I thought it was onside, and I wonder with the VAR review, it might have been, if he'd have scored it, would it have been given? I think it might have actually. So that, for all intents and purposes, doesn't include, that 0.9 doesn't include that big miss. So you could probably double that, right, Núñez? He missed so many today. I also noticed he was top for shots with 9 shots. To put that into context, the next most was Mohamed Kudus from West Ham with 4. So he had double the amount of shots this game week across the whole game with the next best. And particularly in that first half an hour, he was shooting on sight. So as an FPL owner, if you had him, you're probably liking that. You're probably thinking he's selfish, he's taking the shots. But not scoring. No. Not scoring. Hits the bar. Misses. Again. Big XG.
But it did feel like it was a bit of one of those weeks this week. Not just for Darwin, but generally across FPL. So the fact that he was still getting all of these opportunities wouldn't put me off investing in him in more longer term, because he's getting in the right places, he's getting the chances. All right, he didn't finish them, and over the last couple of seasons, that has been the downside of Darwin Núñez, hasn't it? Is that he just hasn't really...
I don't think you can say it's one of those weeks. It's what he's like. He does it week in, week out.
I know that, but But I think this week more than ever, with the amount of like really big chances that he missed, he was unlucky not to get something. But it does feel like if you do invest in Darwin, that is what you are going to contend with, doesn't it? Because we're 2 seasons in now and we're still seeing the same kind of chances that he's getting and continuing not to finish, which is frustrating if you own him.
Yeah, absolutely. Where else in Liverpool though? Because
Tsimikas benched.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, I have to say. He was my transfer in this week, so I did burn to Tsimikas, and we've got to talk about Burn in a bit as well, because he came off injured, I think, in that game yesterday.
Yeah, 46 minutes.
So, I don't know about Tsimikas. One thing's for sure, we did see the kind of formation that we don't tend to see quite as much with Liverpool, which is that Trent invert. We haven't seen it as much this season. He played Gomez there, and the reason he played Gomez was because Trent was inverting into midfield, making that box midfield with McAllister and Szoboszlai and whoever else. And then it was the back three. So you had an extra man coming into attack, which I think Klopp was looking at the game thinking, well, they're going to sit back. We're going to have a lot of the ball. It makes sense if we have an extra attacking player in Trent join that midfield and then go to the back three. But what happened was the midfield just got so crowded. It's not a huge pitch, that.
No, it's
little. So what happened was that box in the midfield just...
It was full.
Luton just sort of like... Well, they chucked their 3 in there as well. And it was just like there's 7 players like in the centre circle. And it was just... There's just no space to operate for those 4. So also what happens then is when you play that box and Trent does that invert... It's a better use of Trent, and in FPL we might go, okay, well that's good for Trent. It's a criminal waste of Salah, because Salah just goes really wide on the right, and then Jota went really wide on the left, and they both get chalk on their boots because you want the 2 8s running through the middle. You want McAllister and Szoboszlai running through the middle. But when Luton sit back as the way they did, and then just pushed the 3 midfielders into that middle, it just congested everything. The pitch is so narrow, the width just wasn't there. It just needed and if you're going to ask Jota and Salah to go wide in that system, but the pitch isn't wide enough, so they come in as well, all of a sudden it just gets too congested, and there was just no space to play the way that Klopp wanted that system to work.
Yeah.
It just didn't work. And it wasn't until he brought Tsimikas on and went to the 4-3-3, which actually the players are more used to playing, it started to feel a bit better. And actually Harvey Elliott made a massive difference because he come on and he's very, very direct, whereas Dom Szoboszlai is a bit more kind of creative and all the rest of it, whereas Harvey come in and just went at them. And it did make a difference when we sat back into the 4-3-3. The thing with that is that you still had Darwin Nunez, who you're then asking him in a 4-3-3 to do the more Firmino-y, Gakpo-y role, and he can't do it. He just can't do it. He's rubbish. Right? He just waits. What Nunez is good at is feed me and I'll have a shot on target or I'll miss it. But he's not good at that drop-in in the 4-3-3. So Klopp, I don't know if he got it absolutely right today, but for sure, Luton's tactics were good, because where did they score their goal from? We're going to sit, suck it up, and then we'll hit you on the break with the pace of Kabore, of Chong, of others, right? And they both did really well on that break. And the one thing that you will say about Liverpool is that when that ball came in, just seconds before the Luton break, and it hit, can't think who it hit on the hand, Barkley maybe. It's not a pen, right? It's not a pen. I know that, but there was a big, big shout for it. All the players went up for it. Of course they did, because it's the last couple of minutes of the game when we'd take anything, right? So they're all shouting for it, and then no one gets back. They're all sort of waiting for the ref to go, oh, it's either a pen or I'm going to look at VAR or whatever. Play to the whistle, boys. Play to the whistle. Because it definitely wasn't a pen, and then they just got hit on the break, right? So Liverpool's fixtures coming up. Brentford at home next. Then it's the City game. Fulham, Sheffield United, Palace and Man United. So the fixtures are still pretty good. I don't know whether he's going to go with that Tsimikas again, without Tsimikas again. It didn't feel right at all.
No, it didn't. And the thing is that the thing in the end for me that made me captain Haaland over Salah, one was the away home fixture. Like, if I'm really struggling, that's always what I'll fall back on. But also, it was the Spurs game at Luton a few weeks ago where Luton did what they did to to us, and they can do that. They can't do it on the road, but at home at Kenilworth Road they can, because it's their pitch. They understand how narrow it is. It makes it it's a very uncomfortable place to go for a lot of Premier League clubs, because it isn't the lap of luxury that they're used to in most Premier League stadiums. So they can dig in, they can do that, and they can be frustrating. And I just wondered whether they might frustrate Liverpool today, because one of the things that you're a bit like us in that you're attacking creative football, and that can be a bit frustrating against a side like Luton when they're playing at home. So difficult game for Liverpool today.
I thought we were wasteful as well, do you know what I mean? Chances created, like top for chances created this week, according to the Scout members area, with 6. Andreas Pereira from Fulham and Trent, right? And then you couple that with Nunez's 9 shots. It's like, wasn't as if we weren't getting chances. It's just, were they high enough quality chances? And actually, when you look at it, the eye test, you'd say, yes, actually. Because Nunez was getting into good, that one that was offside or whatever, that was a good opportunity. He's got an XG delta of minus 0.9. Gakpo even had a delta of 0.6. Salah, so the top 3 of the top 4 XG underachievers this week, according to Scout, are Liverpool. Nunez, then it's Antonio, then Gakpo and Salah. So what does that tell you? That tells you that we were bloody wasteful today, because we're having chances, getting shots away, creating stuff, just not putting it in the back of the net.
Yeah, frustrating.
So there we go.
But I'm not doing anything about it. Like Simicast, just because he was benched this week, I'm not going to sell him.
No, me neither. I don't think there's a knee-jerk reaction required on Simicast.
No.
I don't think he's going to be... I don't think, given the way that Brentford can counter-attack, I don't think he's going to stick with that Trent inverting. I mean, even though it's at Anfield next week against Brentford, he definitely won't do it against City.
No.
Definitely not, I don't think. So I expect Simicast to come back into those games. The question you've got to ask yourself is, if you're a non-Simicast owner, are you rushing to get him now, though? Because Brentford can score against us at Anfield, because they've got the tools to do that. Then it's City away. You might come back for Simicast in 14. So he's probably a hold, but he's not a buy, I don't think.
That's probably fair.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's move on from Liverpool. Where would you like to go next? Should we go back all the way to the beginning and talk about this Fulham 0, Manchester United 1? Again, I wasn't at all convinced by this performance from Manchester United. But they do have a reasonable fixture in Luton at home, at Old Trafford, coming up next week. And then they go away to Goodison before the fixtures get more difficult. So if you're a Bruno Fernandes owner, you're happy because you're a number of points ahead of everybody else in FPL this week. And you're probably holding, aren't you?
I mean, if you've got Bruno Fernandes, you hold, probably, yeah. But you're not buying him, are you?
And what about this whole kind of Rashford, took a heavy knock in training...
or went out and annoyed the boss last weekend.
Went out clubbing on his birthday and pissed off Ten Hag. Is that the reason? I don't know.
And Varane, why is what's going on? It continues to be an enigma to me what is going on at Manchester United this season. I don't understand it. I don't know. I'm not inspired either. I thought that they were average in this game. I didn't think there was anything to shout about until Bruno Fernandes put that one away, and it was just Bruno Fernandes scoring a good goal.
Should Leno have saved it?
Probably.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, it was also a bit of a comedy of errors from Fulham at the back, because they should have cleared it a couple of times before it eventually gets to Bruno, and then probably the keeper should do better. However, it's nothing about Manchester United's performance in that game shouted invest in us.
No.
Even with the clean sheet sticking, I wouldn't fancy any of the defenders. And Bruno Fernandes, yeah, all right, if you've got him, I think you hold him, but you're certainly not going to spend the level of budget that you need to spend on Bruno Fernandes if you don't already own him, I don't think.
No, I don't think there's much to say here. I also think that was an elbow by Paulinho. Did you see that? There was an elbow on somebody. I can't remember. Was that this week or last week? That's this week, wasn't it? Yeah. I can't remember the elbow, but I did think that was a bit of a nasty one.
There were a few interesting decisions this weekend. I think we'll just say that.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that again. All right. Well, let's move on, because I don't think there's much to talk about at Manchester United. A cracking game that I have seen the highlights of, and I did think it was two decent teams going at it. And it was a ding dong battle, wasn't it? Backwards and forwards. Brentford 3. West Ham 2. You will absolutely take the Bowen goal.
Yes,
I will absolutely take the Mbeumo assist, because he's my highest scorer in my team so far this week.
Oh, God.
Talk to me about Mohamed Kudus, though, because...
Oh, your bromance continues with Kudus.
I'm well keen on this guy. I think he's a player. I do think he's a player. I think West Ham have got a bit of a gem there. Tell me about him and West Ham's performance, and then we'll come to Brentford after.
Well, I mean, he was the one that stood out. I thought, Bowen... I really like owning Bowen. He's done really well for me so far this season. I've been able to rely on him quite on a fairly consistent basis to return points. But Kudus is definitely attractive as an option. And I think if I was looking to invest in West Ham now, I probably would be inclined to go for him over Bowen. There's a price difference, which obviously is nice as well. And the way that he plays, he's so attacking. Weirdly, he is creative but also selfish at the same time. So that bodes well for FPL because it means when he's not in the right place, he'll put something in for somebody else. But if there's a hint of goal, he's going to take a shot, which is ideal for us as FPL managers.
Yeah, the other reason I'm keen on him is the same reason that I was keen a couple of weeks ago to do the Mbeumo to Bowen switch. And I'm still glad I didn't do that on the basis that Mbeumo's he hasn't blanked now for 3 weeks, and for the last couple of weeks he's been absolutely brilliant. And I will, the 5 this week is cool, right? I'm cool with it given the rest of my team's performance. But the last 2 weeks he's been brilliant, so I don't regret not making that move. And if I had Bowen now, if I was in your situation, I'd be like, yeah, he's staying. Because look at these fixtures for West Ham: Forest at home, Burnley, Palace, obviously Spurs away, very very difficult. Fulham and then Wolves. So outside of 15, the West Ham fixtures look great. I don't have any West Ham.
Apart from Areola.
Sorry, yes, I do have Areola, yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at Mbeumo's fixtures. I'm thinking, Liverpool, Arsenal, all right, Luton, but then it's, Brighton. Could I do the Mbeumo to a West Ham player that I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, but do Kudus instead of Bowen?
Because you have to find $1 million to go to Bowen.
Yeah, because Bowen's that little bit more expensive.
Yeah, and Kudus is what?
He's a little bit more...
5 point something, isn't he?
No, I think he's a bit more in the Brian Mbeumo bracket, isn't he? I think he's more in the 6 bracket.
6.5, yeah. Whereas Bowen's 7.4. So...
Just a little question mark in my head about play time and how many minutes he gets. But he's got to be doing enough, hasn't he?
Well, I was just having a look. So obviously this week he played
doing enough.
Full 90 this week, full 90 last week, 23 the week before, 14 the week before. But... So he was sort of ticking over, but then not enough that you would invest. But the last 2 weeks got the full 90 both times.
I like him a lot, I like him a lot. I think if it was a money no object, I think I would still go for Bowen.
Okay.
I think if you said to me you must pick between one or the other and budget doesn't matter, I think I'd go for Bowen. But because budget does matter to me, and I don't think I could get to Bowen without a hit. And if I did want to go for West Ham this week, I think I'd go Mbeumo to Kudus, That is definitely a transfer that's on my mind. He is a good differential as well, which, again, maybe it's just the fact that I've had a really crap week that I'm sort of scrambling around for differentials. Maybe in the cold light of day...
Did I just see 0.6%, I think I saw?
Yeah,
0.6.
Because I think many have gone to Bowen, right? I think Bowen is popular.
21.4.
Yeah, so Bowen is popular. So I think the move that would least hurt would probably be Bowen.
The only thing I'd say...
Go on.
...is that this week, obviously, West Ham were without Alvarez and Paqueta. So Kudus was their chief... Alongside Bowen, those two were the key to the attack. I wonder when we see Paqueta and Alvarez back in from next week after their suspensions, whether it might not be quite the same. But having said that, Kudus was good last week as well, just didn't return any points, but he was still good and he was still attacking.
He's having such a good season, Bowen, though, isn't he? That's what attracted me to him a couple of weeks ago. And in the end, I didn't do it. And I'm glad I didn't because of the Mbeumo hauls. But I still like him, even though I've been, lucky-ish with my Mbeumo hauls and that's sort of, taken my mind off of Bowen. In the meantime, he's still banging them in. Still got one this week. Got that fluky one off of that should have been an assist, but wasn't a couple of weeks ago. So he's still ticking over very, very nicely indeed. Noticed Antonio, as I said before, was second for XG underachievers across the game week. So with a delta of 0.75. So, with just a single assist, maybe Moisey's getting a little bit... if I were a West Ham fan, and I hear this a lot from my mates that are West Ham fans, they're saying that maybe Kudus is the one to play in the 9 rather than Antonio. Because like you say, when you've got Alvarez available, when you've got Bowen available, when Paqueta's coming back and available, Ward-Prowse obviously, probably going to get a spot as well. Who drops out if you want to play Kudus? maybe it's Antonio. I don't know. Maybe it is. That's the sort of general vibe I'm getting from the West Ham fans. But anyway, Brentford then, from their perspective, a decent comeback, right? It showed a bit of spirit and character here. Like to see it.
Flecken went off injured.
Yeah.
To note, if you are a Flecken owner, keep an eye on that, because that's... I mean, the Brentford fixtures, I think, to be honest, if you're a Flecken owner, I'd be looking to probably jump ship if he's your first choice. If you've got a rotating pair, then fair enough. But if he's your first choice goalkeeper, if you've got Flecken and Turner, for example, given that Turner was benched today and they kept a clean sheet, you might have to deal with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Flecken out injured. Anything else to say from the Brentford assets in this game? I mean, Jensen's like ticking over, isn't he?
Yeah,
like,
apart from the one week I had him as my pod differential and he did nothing. But he's been really consistent this season. The thing is, though, the fixtures, I think if you've got Mbeumo like you have, you could maybe understand the holding through the next couple of difficult ones, depending upon your team structure and injuries and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality is, with Liverpool up next... And then think it's Arsenal, isn't it? They're two really difficult fixtures, and I'm not convinced that you really want to invest in Brentford ahead of those two.
He was involved in this game though, Brian Mbeumo. He was definitely a part of it. I noticed also in the scout members area, he was 5th overall across the whole game week for touches in the opponent's half. You've got Pascal Gross of Brighton was way ahead with like 140 odd. And then there's Digne and Trent and Douglas Luiz and a few others. But Brian Mbeumo is right in there in the top 5. So he was definitely involved in this game. I would be absolutely cool if you're a Brian Mbeumo owner and you want to hold him through those next difficult two to keep him for that Luton game in 14.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad move. And then it's Brighton, of course, who are leaky, right? We've seen that from Brighton. And then it's Sheffield United. So if I do sell Mbeumo this week... There's a reasonable chance I come back for him in sort of 14, 15 anyway, you know.
Yeah, but I think the way that this season's going, that's a good strategy because...
Yeah, off and on again.
Off and on, because you're using your slots to their full advantage at that point. For me, if I was an Mbeumo owner looking at these two fixtures coming, I'd be like, that's a player that I can take out.
Yeah.
And maybe,
thanks, Brian, for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
but yeah.
And maybe come back to later, like you say. Yeah. But right now, there are other players. Like if you, like for you, no West Ham... 2 great fixtures in the period that Mbeumo's got terrible fixtures.
This is it, isn't it? Forest and then Burnley. But then when I want Mbeumo back in 14, Palace at home for West Ham.
Yeah, but then maybe you're looking at somewhere else. Like maybe it's at that point that you go, do I want to be trebled up on Aston Villa? Do I want to be, I don't know who else you've got. Maybe you don't want Saka, maybe you don't want Maddison, maybe like there are other players that you can then look at and go, well, maybe Bowen comes in for some and Mbeumo comes back for somebody different.
It's a long time in FPL, 2 game weeks, isn't it?
Everything can change in 2 weeks.
Everything can change in 2 weeks. Where else, Sam? Let's go back to the results page. There we go. Let's talk about, let's do the controversial one then. Let's do Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0. As the thumbnail says, Arsenal robbed. I'm a true believer in it. I did not think it was a goal. I want to put that out there straight away. I thought the ball went out of play for a start. Then I think it's a foul. The offside, yeah, maybe. But what was interesting was that the ball was so close to like being out, wasn't it? That whether it was in or it was out, and I do think it was out, but say it was in by like a slither or whatever, the ref had such a good get out of jail free card, didn't he? It's just like, all right, it's so borderline, I can get away with not having to make that decision by just giving the foul. And Joe Linton's hands are all over him, right? They're absolutely all over him. I just don't know, and I don't really get on board with the Carragher and the Neville, it's a disgrace, and I saw the Goldbridge, it's a disgrace. I don't think it's a disgrace, but it's still another pretty bad one for VAR and the refereeing. Another bad one. And I also don't agree with Arteta's comments, right? He come out and he was scathing and he's, there's so much at stake and he said it was a disgrace. And I think he's gone over the top there. But I can't disagree with his sentiment because it's true, right? Klopp didn't say that a few weeks ago with the Luis Diaz one because he knows he's going to get in trouble. Whereas Arteta will get fined now. He'd get fined. He'll be disciplined,
he
right?
will get fined.
And he's almost gone into that press conference going, I know I'm going to get fined, and I don't care. I'm going to talk about it and say it anyway. I'm not going to use the same sort of words he did, but it was a bad one, I think. It was a bad one. I think it's a foul, and I think the ball's gone out.
I mean, it certainly looks like the ball's gone out. The still photographs look like it has. The thing is, what I don't really understand is why we have goal line technology. Why do we not just put that all around the pitch? Like, just put it everywhere.
Yeah.
Put it all around the pitches. Then you know for a fact it's gone out. The offside, yeah. The foul, yeah. If that was Spurs, I'd be raging. I would be raging.
Both hands on his back pushing him.
Because it's a push. And there was a very similar foul that one of our boys did today. And it was a foul. The ref gave it as a foul. They took the free kick. They didn't score from it. However, that is a foul in grassroots. It should be a foul at the Premier League level as well. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm not happy.
What's frustrating for me, and we've got to move on from this because I want to hear your thoughts on Arsenal now in particular, because this was the game where you were like, I'm happy to see this out with no Arsenal in the FPL team, but now I might want to get some for this run. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But my last word on it is that's now 3 really big clanger decisions in big games for referees. The Luis Diaz one is a nightmare. The Kovacic one, I think,
sending off,
where he should have sent him off and he didn't. That is a clanger. This one is a clanger. There's more than that, by the way, in this game. Did you see the Bruno Guimaraes elbow? Yeah. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we even doing? Bruno Guimaraes, you even, like, the video shows him, his face goes like this. He's like that, as if I'm gonna elbow you on the back of the head, and he does it, and we're saying that's not a red card. I just don't know anymore. It's just like, it's so bad. It's so bad. But anyway, Arsenal then, FPL. So you were right to not go in on them for this game. Next week, though, let's have a look at these fixtures going forward for Arsenal. Burnley at home, Brentford, Wolves, Luton, Villa away, Brighton. Looks decent, doesn't it? Who have you got your eye on?
Well, part of the reason for rolling transfer last week was so I could potentially look to double up on Arsenal this week, because I didn't want to be involved in this game. I found it so difficult to know who was going to win. Would Newcastle win? Arsenal win? Call, yeah. Is it a draw? It was too hard. I'd like an Arsenal defender. I still think even because take out that goal and they keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So I would still like a defender. Gabriel back in the starting 11. That's what I was expecting.
Got to be Gabriel, isn't it? If you're going to go there.
I think so. I mean, if Haaland was out longer term, then I probably would have gone for Saliba because I'd have the budget to just do whatever on earth you wanted.
Just feels like a waste of budget though, doesn't it? That going Saliba
over
Gabriel.
If you're not having Haaland at all and you're having Nketiah instead, then do what you like.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, fair.
I think, so for me, probably Gabriel, but that's when I then start to struggle, because the whole of the last 3-4 weeks have been about the route to the route to Saka. And I've struggled a lot with that, because the route to Saka was either from Bowen, which don't really want to do.
You're not selling Bowen right now.
And I can't now because I upgraded Alvarez for Watkins. So the money that I had for the Saka move from Bowen is gone.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it now is to downgrade Son. And I don't want to do that. So I think my route is going to be Cameron Archer. I think it's going to be taking some money.
To Eddie
Nketiah, yeah. So
right.
I think what I'll probably do this week is look to take Diaby down.
Ooh, okay.
Because I've got Matt Cash and I've got Ollie Watkins, and I don't feel like I necessarily need to be trebled
Fulham
up.
At home, Villa bloody good at home.
They are, but I don't necessarily feel the need to be trebled up on Aston Villa.
Could you do Diaby down to Douglas Luiz?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could do that, or I could go over to one of the Brighton assets if I wanted to, a Dingra, or I could look at a cheaper option like Cole Palmer or whoever. Anyway, there's loads down there.
Yeah.
Don't need to free up that much money. It's like, I don't know, 0.8 or something. And then from there, I can have Cameron Archer, because the other thing is that whoever goes into that midfielder slot, given I'd then have a front three of Haaland, Watkins and Nketiah, you'd want to play those three each week.
Yeah.
And therefore you want your fifth midfielder to be a lower price player that you can bench anyway. So
Eddie's such a nice pick as well, isn't he? I mean, you can't, a blank against arguably one of the best defences in the league. You can forgive him that, right?
Yeah,
but
and
Burnley
also,
at home next, Brentford, Wolves, Luton.
They're really great fixtures. And Arteta's comment on Jesus and how he keeps saying I can't tell you, I don't know. We got it wrong last time, I don't know. It doesn't shout out, like he was asked yesterday, would he be back after the international break? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, it was so unclear. Now there could be because he genuinely doesn't know. That could be because he doesn't want him to go away on international break, and therefore that might be a way. But right now, Nketiah feels like a good option for the next few weeks. Not long term, because eventually Gabriel Jesus is going to come back, and then I'll have to rethink my Arsenal strategy.
Yeah.
But whilst he's available as a cheap third forward, it seems a bit ridiculous to sell Son to get Saka when I could just get Nketiah.
You can have a route in there. Yeah, I like it. All right, don't mind it. Super chat from our friend Nigel the Crab. First things first, happy birthday, Simon. It's his birthday today. Had you remembered?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, God, you haven't got to sing. You haven't got to sing. Please don't sing.
Why? Was it not good?
I liked it. Yeah, it's fine. Carry on. Keep singing. Podcasters have just all turned off. Happy birthday, Nigel the Crab, guys. Get into the chat.
Happy birthday, Si.
Just as Ria has, and get a little happy birthday, Simon, and a little crab emoji. I didn't even know there was a crab emoji. Apparently,
it's probably Simon created
there is a crab emoji. So just
where did the Nigel the Crab one come from? Like,
I have no
idea. I know that we've
no idea.
It would have been on a bet because he's been named all sorts of things on our channel because of bets. But I can't remember where the Nigel the Crab one came from.
I don't know, but all I'm going to say is happy birthday. As per our chat on Friday, we're going to talk about that in a second. Bonus points for Trippier again.
Always.
This is why I won't be dropping him. Happy birthday to me. Shame about my score. Yeah, I can.
If you had Trippier, it can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad, mate, if you had Trippier. What we said about Newcastle, we had a quick chat on Arsenal. You've spoken about Eddie.
Off at half time.
Yeah, what are we saying about Newcastle then? Is it a case of just get Trippier and be done with it? Because he's so good, isn't he?
Fixtures, please.
Just so good. Newcastle fixtures, Sam, they read like this. Bournemouth away next, Chelsea, Man United, which is those two fixtures back-to-back, which I notice on the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker are both a shade of blue, which I don't disagree with, by the way, right now. I don't disagree with that, but that's the first time in a long time both of those would be blue. Everton away, then it's the Spurs game in 16, then Fulham at home. So particularly those home games, I don't think hold any fear if you've got Trippier. He is for sure looking good, and one that I think you've got to try and get to, haven't you? You've got to. Apart from the 0-pointer against Wolves the other week, he's just hauling every week. He's killing us. We haven't got him.
No, but equally, this week, if Dan Burn had made it to 60 and then gone off, you wouldn't have been that far off. It wouldn't have killed you. It's 3 points. It's the bonus points that's it. Like, it's not the end of the world, if you know what I mean. When he's like getting attacking returns galore, it's a thing. I think we're gonna have to see what the situation is with Burn over the next week or so.
Well, if you don't want Trippier, you just go and get Lascelles, don't you? For like 3.9 or whatever he is.
I think he might have gone up now. I think he might be 4.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
But he's a decent option, and with Botman seemingly not coming back anytime soon.
No.
There is definitely another good budget enabler in Lascelles who we can go to. He's been solid since he's come in.
Did he get a bonus this week? I think he
did. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, top bonus. Yeah, same as Trippier, right?
They all did, didn't they? They all got 3.
Joelinton 3 as well.
Yeah. So he's definitely a great option and cheap. That is another kind of pondery I'd had because the Dan Burn slot was probably my route to an Arsenal defender. But
like a Burn to Gabriel or something like that.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think we have to see whether that injury, because if he's fit, I don't want to sell him for the next couple of weeks.
Dan Burn.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I sold him for Simicast, so I'm not.
Well, wiped his face.
Yeah, so I'm not sort of like too upset about that, particularly if Dan Burn's injured. But I'm looking at those fixtures, thinking, yeah, I think I do want in.
But how
to
are you going to get
Newcastle.
to Trippier? That's going to be difficult.
Well, I'm not, am I? I'm probably going to go Lascelles. I'll probably go Cabore to Lascelles or something like that. I mean, you could do that. That's the same price.
You still got Cabore.
Cabore to Lascelles, despite Cabore blitzing us up this afternoon. I could do that and have a Newcastle bit of coverage that way. For sure, I'd love to get to Trippier. For sure.
Because you've already got Gabriel, right?
Gabriel's in place. Tsimikas is in place. Cash is in place.
Cash is another one we should talk about.
Yeah, but they're at home now. You ain't selling him. That's what I'm saying. You got Villa at home are a different beast. They're a different beast.
Subs.
Yeah, I know, but
no clean sheets properly for.
You ain't selling.
You know, the clean sheets are dried up. The attacking returns are dried up. I am losing the plot with him.
We're getting fickle, aren't we? It's been one of those game weeks where you just want to rip your team up and start again. But you've done all right. Stop whinging. You haven't got you.
I didn't whinge.
You've done fine. You
sigh
whinging. You got bloody Trippier. You've got Bowen. I've got absolutely naff all.
I don't think I whinged. Let's be clear. You whinged at me for singing. I think you'll find. Why do you keep going back to the big screen?
I don't know why I keep going back
there.
there.
You're right tonight, dear.
No, I'm not, because my team hasn't won. And do you remember sitting here a few weeks ago and I was just like, isn't it great? I remember sitting here with a massive smile on my face saying, isn't it great when Liverpool win and your FPL team does well? And I got like 80-something points or something. And Mbeumo's got me a double-digit haul. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I feel the complete opposite to that tonight.
Yeah, whereas I feel all right because Spurs haven't played yet. We can still go back top of the league tomorrow. And because I've got doubled up in the Spurs attack in FPL, it feels like there's still a chance.
Yeah.
There's still a chance my FPL team isn't completely in the mud.
All right, one or two of more of these games, Sam. We've got to talk about Jeremy Doku and his 22-pointer. You've got to be thinking about bringing him in, have you?
Have you?
What? 22 points?
No, but you can't... how long have you been watching Pep?
Well, this is... Right, so the first thing to say, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying before, right? City fixtures, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Aston Villa. The next four are tricky with... Sorry, Harry, maybe Chelsea aside. Luton and Crystal Palace. So that is my point. And I made that before, and he's come out and said it.
Luton and Crystal Palace, Doku.
He likes Grealish in the games where he's going to go a bit more all-out attack. Mm-hmm. Chelsea away, is that a game where he all-out attacks?
Stop upsetting Harry!
Is it though? I'm just saying. If you're Pep, do you go for that game? I think you probably do. Liverpool, Spurs and Villa are Villa at Villa Park. No, they sound like Grealish games. So my question would be, well, do you bring in Doku for Chelsea away?
Well, no, because you won't play him in the next ones.
Or are we just kind of are we just accepting that Doku is class now? He's a brilliant player, and we're all going to get him for Luton against Luton at Kenilworth Road in 16.
The reality of this situation is he's no different to every other week with Pep. He's got Grealish or Doku. He's got Foden. He's got Bilva. He's got multiple players. He will rotate them. You will get a shock when Foden is benched and you're not anticipating it, like this week. You will get the same thing happen week upon week. Grealish will play the more difficult fixtures. Because there is a difficult run of fixtures coming, I think that means Doku gets less game time in the league in the coming weeks. Maybe he gets Chelsea, but after that, I don't see him playing against Spurs or Aston Villa or Liverpool. I think that'll be Grealish. And then after that, the Luton game, Doku will be back in. The way I see it, you need a nice run of a couple of good fixtures, easier fixtures, where you would invest in him. Because otherwise you're bringing him in for a game, and then you've got to take him straight back out again, and that doesn't feel worth it.
Well, this is the only reason I'm being quite provocative with him is that, again, if I go back to my, Mbeumo to Kudus move, it could be Mbeumo to Doku, couldn't it? He's in that sort of similar price bracket, I think. I might have got that wrong, but I think he's sort of in and around there. So again, if I am going to get rid of Mbeumo this week, which I am considering, not because I want to, but just because the fixtures take a bit of a turn, then yeah, could it be a Kudus? Could it be a Doku? I'm sort of in that sort of bracket. I have to say...
Would you be surprised if he benched him, though?
No.
And that's why I don't think you could go there.
And I think that's why I'm sort of leaning towards... Weirdly, I'm leaning... because he's just got 22 points, so why the hell would you not bring him in, Doku? But
because
sort of weirdly leaning towards Kudus a little bit, because of the fixtures and because I think he's... Is he guaranteed a bit more minutes than Kudus? I don't know. Than Doku, I mean. Either way, both of them, for sure, are great additions to the Premier League. I like the look of both of them. Proper wingers, and very, very attacking.
In Doku, so he's going to blank next week.
He's the most transferred in so far this game week. Well, it's not a shock, is it? It's not a shock because he's reasonable price and he plays for City and he just got 22 points.
Double the number of transfers of that of Nketiah, who's in second.
Yeah, well, the casuals will be absolutely flocking to him, but I would urge caution. I think. I mean, am I overthinking it? Maybe, but I'd urge caution. The other thing to say is that Bernardo Silva. just Rolls Royce, isn't he? Just what?
But always has been.
Just what a player, Bernardo. I just love watching Bernardo Silva. Just such a good player. Such a good player.
Both the Silvers were.
And then final word on Haaland is we don't think it's too bad an injury, but let's keep an eye on it.
Might be available for Tuesday. I mean, obviously Champions League this week, so there'll be another press conference.
We'll find out.
We'll find out a bit more.
Don't go selling him, people. Don't go selling him. Or maybe you should with those fixtures coming up.
He's the most transferred out.
I don't know. Yeah, you can see it.
So far, how many have sold him so far?
Quite a few, I'd imagine.
109,000 managers.
You can see it with those fixtures. You can see it, can't you? You can see it.
Yeah.
Right, Sam, let's talk about a couple of things. Before we get to our teams, we've just got to give a quick shout out to our patrons. Many of those are in tonight. Patreon.com/FPL Family. If you fancy a bit of extra content from us throughout the week, if you want to take part in our Manager of the Month competitions, if you would like some bonus Ohana podcasts, or if you'd like kind of one-to-one Zoom calls with you and I about your team and how that's going, then patreon.com/FPL Family is where you can get all of that good extra stuff if you want a bit more of Sam and I in your lives. And also a new thing that we're introducing to our patrons for this season, which we did the first of on Friday, didn't we? We did an Ohana live podcast. So we used our new FPL Family Yugo environment to meet with our patrons in a virtual environment. So you and I were beamed in kind of Star Trek style to the desk there at the front. We had all of the patron guys fun, and thank you to everybody that joined that, by the way, because it's really, really good. And they join in, they just use their webcams and their microphones. There's Martin Tricky Swartz there, who's a name that's always in here in the chat. They all join on the little screens there, but I have the ability, or we have the ability, to kind of bring them up to the big screen. I can put my team up there, for example, and I was talking about my SUPERCHAT transfer, or we can bring the lovely B there. So there's B, who I know is in this evening. We can bring him to the big screen. We can ask questions. We can interact. So it's very much like a sort of virtual interactive podcast. So whereas this is very much obviously live stream, it's us talking at you guys, and we'll do a little bit backwards and forwards in the chat by text. This was about bringing our patrons to the big screen, having that sort of interaction with you and asking questions and answers. So if you guys are interested in joining the patron family and being part of the Ohana live podcasts, you get all the other stuff, right? All the other stuff is still there. The Manager of the Month competitions still going to happen. The Ohana podcast, so the audio stuff, still going to be there. If you want the one-to-one Zooms with me and you, still going to be there. But if you want to take part in this live Q&A in our new Yugo virtual environment, FPL Family branded virtual environment, like Martin did, like Tracy did, like B did, come and ask us questions on the deadline. Come and get involved. Patreon.com/FPL Family. Any tier, you can access it. So this is not something you have to go, I have to go to the Zoom tier, right? If you're in the Ohana tier, you get access to the Yugo environment, the Ohana live environment. You can come and ask us questions and be part of it, right? And it was a very intimate little event. We had about 20, 30 people in there, didn't we? It was great. Really, really good. Really, really good. So thank you to all the patrons that turned up to be part of that really great Q&A with you guys in the build-up to Game Week 11. I don't remember what I said during that Ohana live, but I'm pretty sure that it was, I think I was feeling positive about the game week that was about to happen. And as it proved, I was completely wrong about that. Sam, let's get this over with. Let's get this over with. I'll go first because I just want to flash it on the screen and then get it down again. 17, guys. It's been a stinker of epic proportions. Stinker. The only return I had was Mbremo's assist, which even that was like for an own goal. It was like a little bit jammy, to say the least. No one else has returned. Haaland, obviously, with the captaincy's gone wrong. My bench has got Kabore and Archer on it because, how can it not? I need a Pedro Porro hat-trick to make it even like respectable. Absolutely
if he does,
ridiculous.
I'll run on the pitch and give him a kiss from you.
Absolutely ridiculous. So 17 points. A terrible, terrible game week. My overall rank's down to 346, which, to be honest, I am delighted with. Because I was at about 170 odd K going into the game week. So to only go to 346 on the back of a game week where my game week rank is in the mud, by the way. The muddiest of mud. I'm at like game week rank 9.5 million. And normally, but that's why I'm happy, right? Because normally you have a game week like that and you are mudded.
Yeah, but everyone's in the mud.
I'm like at 2 million.
Yeah, apart from Wilco, who's got 50 odd.
Because everyone else is in the mud with me, to a degree, I'm not quite as in the mud as I thought I'd be in the mud. Does that make sense? Should I say mud a bit more?
Hasn't Az got 10?
I don't know. Has he got 10?
Well, I don't know.
Why have you dug him out there? Poor old Az.
Just bringing him into it. Because didn't you tell me he had 9?
What
Didn't he tweet that he had 9? And that was with... and that maybe Simicast has come on for a point. Did he even get a point or did he get 0? I don't know.
Did Az get 10?
Oh,
bless him.
He's got some Spurs. He must have some Spurs.
Steve's in. He's saying Az has got 12.
12. There you go. 12. The whole thing's a disaster, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's just
How are we going to create content this week? I've got to go on off the bench on Tuesday and talk about this game week. What are Andy and I going to talk about?
I don't know.
What's happened?
I don't know. But anyway, 17 points. Absolutely tragic. Just the worst game week.
It's not overly.
I need Maddison and Porro to cut. And by the way, it could still be all right with them two, right? Because 2 good players. But I've got no Son either. I've got no Son.
Yeah, but Son's ownership.
No, if he hurts me every week when he scores.
Does
so
he?
Yeah. So that's bad. It's 39%.
Bad. 39%. It's not horrendous.
Oh, it'll hurt though, won't it? It will hurt. It will hurt. So yes, I've got 17 with 2 to play and no Son. I feel 17. Like it's absolutely tragic. You may laugh, Sam. You ain't that much better. No, 22.
I'm not laughing at you.
22. He's just laughing at us.
Just laughing at us.
God, then 22.
I've got 2 returns.
I'm down to 247. So
I'll take it.
Yeah. The only difference was that you had a Bowen goal and a Gay clean sheet, right? That was it.
Yeah. Shame that Gay got booked, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because that extra point that meant all the difference this week, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Totally
would
right.
Would have doubled my ranks, doubled my points if you'd have kept that.
Totally right. But you've got Maddison and Son, so
I've got all out attack for the Spurs game.
I'm very much looking for a clean sheet for Spurs and Porro tomorrow, whereas you're looking for a few goals from Maddison Sonny.
I'll give you the clean sheet as long as I get some Sonny goals.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
We'll take
there we go.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the same as all content creators. Bad. We're all in the mud. I don't think anyone's done particularly well. There might be the odd person out there that's got,
Wilco's all right.
He's not content creating.
He should be with a team with a score like that. He should come on here.
There'll be a lot of content creators this week going, I've got 10. I've got 12.
How do you create content like that?
What do you do?
Well, we're sitting here, we've done rubbish and all, and we're creating content, but we don't take it that seriously. How is like some of the serious content creators, like, I don't know, like the Raptors and that, how's he got on? Has he got more than 10? I hope he has, bless him. I hope he has.
I mean,
because these guys have got livelihoods, haven't they? They rely on their YouTube channels.
He's not got Haaland, so he's probably actually all right.
Oh, he's in the no Haaland, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's not.
Hasn't he got Darwin though, who can't hit a donkey's ass with a banjo? Unbelievably
bad. My God, it really is a disastrous week, isn't it? And the thing is, the only positive thing I can come up with was I've got 2 free transfers for next week.
That's the positive.
And Maddison and Son have still got to play.
God, so your 2 free transfers. We've talked about Arsenal a little bit. Early thoughts, or is it just too early?
It's a bit early yet because obviously I need word on if Haaland's out, sell him.
Yeah, probably.
And I'll get Nketiah instead for this week, and then maybe move it back the week after. Just leave the money in the bank.
But we've got European football, as you rightly say. So we will hear about Haaland. We'll hear about some of these players.
100% going to wait.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any rash or crazy decisions.
Apparently, Raptor's on 28 with Maddison and Son. He's flying.
You see?
Absolutely
he is
flying,
positively
Raptor.
Flying. So Raptor, go and listen to what Raptor's got to say this week because the rest of us are all in the mud.
Andy from Let's Talk's on 21. They're flying. All these boys are flying.
Excuse me, I've got 22.
You're flying. It's fine. 22 is a great score this week.
You just said I'm not doing much better than you.
22 is a great... 17 I've got. 7 bloody team. How do I go on podcast this week and maintain a level of credibility?
Just go under a rock this week.
I don't think I'm on much this week.
No.
Which is probably for the best.
We were on enough last week. It was busy.
Oh my God, last week.
I felt like everywhere I looked there was me. I turned up at Sky Sports and on the screen above my head was me on the fantasy show.
Here we go. This is more like it. Matthew Knight's 15. Matthew, come over. Come over.
Does he need a hug?
It's
a metaphor.
We've done crap in game week 11 corner. It's 15,
Honestly.
17. That's about where we want to be, right? Gov FPL's got 20. Come over, mate. Come over. It's fine. Cricket Maestro 43. Not interested, mate. No, not interested. You can't come in.
You go hang out with Wilco.
Losers Corner over here with 17, and me and Matthew Knight's on the teens. Shocking, mate. Shocking.
At least you've got double digits.
Cheers.
What did you say about Mo?
Oh, cheers.
What did you tell me?
Oh, I did see FPL Trophy Mo on Twitter. He was talking about having like 10, having taken a -8.
This is on 2.
On a net 2.
I love Mo, for the record. We've met him a lot of times at various different events, haven't we, over the years? He's hilarious.
Unreal.
Isn't he a Liverpool fan as well? So he's having a shocker of a weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's been one of those weeks. Sometimes you just have those weeks in FPL.
Oh, yeah.
You just have those weeks.
Sometimes? It seems to be all the time this season. Something rogue happens.
Sam Bitnez, I'm on 17. Come on over. Sam, come in. Come in. Who else we got? Let's see.
On our Slack channel, we've got one called FPL Rehab, haven't we? That's going to be busy this week. There's going to be a lot of people in rehab this week going, I need some support.
Oh, yeah.
What shall I do with my team?
Andrew Young says that I love the phrase couldn't hit a donkey's ass with a banjo. I've used it on more than one occasion. I think I usually and only exclusively use it when talking about Darwin Nunez. I don't think there's anybody else that gets that treatment. I think he's the only one. Paul Kingsley, 16. Come on over. Paul, come in.
Why are you making... It's like therapy for the year.
It's just so bad, isn't it? All you can do is laugh when it's this bad. It's shocking. Kevin Mellier, 13, mate. You are more than welcome.
13? No one's returned.
Kevin, more than welcome. More than welcome.
Oh, this is disastrous.
Sam, talk about what's coming up this week. Hopefully, I'm on absolutely nothing because I do not want to talk about FPL.
So it is actually a bit quieter this week.
Yeah.
We're
not on Sky or anything this week because even Hayley would have beaten us this week.
Yeah, because I told her to bring in players that actually came off. Yeah. Anyway, what we're doing this week. So FPL Sonaldo, Andy and I will be reviewing the game week on Off the Bench on Tuesday. My God. We've got hope for a Spurs win because if Spurs win, at least Andy and I will be happy.
Should be happy. Yeah, top of the league and happy.
If Son's gone off, at least we're happy.
Yeah.
So that's happening on Tuesday. On Thursday, obviously, the FPL pod. Also on Tuesday night, I'm going on FPL Juice.
Oh yeah, FPL Juice.
I'm off.
Aren't you and Yelena going on it together? Let's go.
Yelena. We'll troll Az a bit more by mentioning his score. So yeah, I'm on FPL Juice with Yelena this week. But yeah, and then obviously the Q&A with Az the back end of the week. A little bit quieter for us this week because it's our little one's birthday next weekend. So a little bit of a quieter one, but yeah, still got Off the Bench, the main pod, Juice, Q&A.
Ohana, all that sort of stuff going on. Yeah, loads of stuff. Loads of stuff. A busy week as usual. So there we go, guys. It's very much a week to forget. So far, I mean, let's see what Maddison, Son, Porro, et al. Can do for us tomorrow night.
Do well. If Chelsea win that, I'll just sum it up.
If Chelsea win that 1-0 and it's like
hit delete on my team at that point.
You know, and a random what would be so game week 11 like a Nicholas Jackson goal. Like no one's got him anymore. We've all had him. 1-0 Jackson. You could see it, couldn't you? You could see it.
Shut up.
But then there'd be a few with Chelsea clean sheets, and we don't want to give away too many FPL points here. So it might be 1-1, like Jackson and
apparently Rich James might be back tomorrow.
Oh, really? Well, that'd be a big boost for them. It'd be a big boost.
Hang on, why would it be Højbjerg? You won't even start.
I don't know. I just want to move on from this week and never... Can we all just agree that we move on and never discuss Game Week 11 again? Can we just agree that between us here on the live stream?
Well, no, but if Spurs win, I want to talk about it.
I know that we're
the only team left unbeaten now.
I know that you create FPL content for a living, so you have no choice but to talk about Game Week 11 for the week.
Yeah,
but
I do have to.
I don't, so therefore I'm going to confine Game Week 11 to the bin and never discuss it again. Is that all right with everybody?
No, because it's not finished yet.
Yeah, but I don't have to... After I've put the live stream down and I've turned it off, I don't have to talk about it ever again.
Oh, you will. Because when I get in from Spurs tomorrow, I'll ask you how many points you've got.
Oh, God. Well, listen, guys, thank you for joining us.
I'll text you when the goals are going in tomorrow, tell you how many points that's worth.
Thank you. I just wait for my Porro Thunderbolt. Come on, Pedro, save my game win. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight. I don't know, go and listen to Sam or somebody else create some decent content, because 17 is absolute crap. Do not ever listen to me and what I do in FPL. 17, rubbish. But it has been one of them game weeks where being in the mud, collectively in the mud.
All in the mud.
It's fun to be in the mud, guys. It's fun to be in the mud.
Is it?
Hopefully we will get better green arrows next week. Thank you for joining us. Leave us a like before you go. You'll see Sam throughout the week. You will not see me talk about game week 11 at all.
Ever again.
And I will see you back here Sunday night, 8:30, when we're going to talk about, not game week 11, never talk about it again, game week 12, which will be a lot better.
We've got Champions League and that to come
It
first.
will be a
Liverpool,
lot
we've got
better.
to play again.
It'll be a lot better.
Darwin's going to hit a barn door in Europe.
A donkey's ass with a banjo, I think sounds the phrase.
But he's going to hit the barn door in Europe.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. And we'll see you next Sunday. Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.